The cloud. That's good. There you go. Let's hit that button. And Peter, are you sharing the screen by any chance?
Yep. How about that? Everybody see that?
No, that's good. Everybody okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Peter, off you go.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just on the subject of sport, I was having a sort of an email conversation with Dave Bird this morning, and it just occurred to me that I've been very, very impressed with, I don't know how good a football coach Gareth Southgate is, but as a leader, he's coming across tremendously well. And I think you know the leadership that he's showing is absolutely tremendous, regardless of what the end result is. I think it's been a tremendous sort of competition from that point of view. But that's not what I'm talking about today. Today, I'm talking about how to focus on generating revenue and profit for your business using the 5-step profit formula. Many of you will probably have seen variations on a theme, but that doesn't make it any less important. I think, and sometimes it is important just to sort of go around this process once again, just to sort of provide people with a focus for what they're trying to do in the business. And talking of focus, one of the key things that I asked from people that I talk to and clients and prospective clients is, are they serious about growth? The thing about growth, like any other form of change, it often requires people to get outside of their comfort zone. But what it does do is it provides a tremendous focus for what you're trying to do. So what I would say is that what I'm going to come on to talk about actually provides a structure for providing a focus, but you've got to have that innate sort of intent to want to grow your business, and that is absolutely fundamental. Everybody's aware, I think, of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. And it is a fact that 20% of what you do every day is generating 80% of your total revenue. That's just the way it is. You know, we get deep into the muck and bullets of running a business, and sometimes, often the stuff that we end up doing doesn't seem to have a direct sort of relationship to the end results that we want. And it's vital to try and keep a focus on what's important. So that means that you're only doing a few things daily that make you most of your money, and I think that is what we are essentially talking about in terms of this presentation. The 5-step profit formula consists of the following. There are basically 5 levers you can pull in any business, 5 levers that you can use to actually help you to grow your business. And we sort of couch them in these terms. We look at more leads, where you're looking at sort of generating as many leads as you can handle. More conversions, where you look at converting those leads to ensure that you're not just converting leads for the hell of it and not seeing any return on it. More transactions. Often more transactions is not just about leads, it's also about existing customers and where you can actually encourage them to spend more with you. And higher prices. Higher prices, one of the conversations I often have with small business owners, I ask them the question, when was the last time you raised your prices? And they will have never have done it, or it may have been many, many years ago. And yet it's funny how, larger business can seem to get away with sort of inflation rises every year. So, actually what you're doing is you're devaluing your products and services by not looking at a process for raising your prices wherever possible and within reason, for obvious reasons. But it is important that you understand that people do expect to pay more as time goes on, More profits is one of the unintended consequences of growth. Sometimes can be that it actually squeezes your profit. You can go for growth, you can go for more revenue, but actually sometimes the downside is that you're actually squeezing your profits. You're not doing it in a profitable way. So those are the 5 sort of headings that we look at. And these five areas basically make up the 20% to which I was referring, and small incremental changes can produce big results. You know, under each of these headings, there are strategies you could be employing, and I would go into more detail on that with a longer presentation. But at this point, I'm just looking at the sort of headlines. Okay, so let's see what the reality of this is. Let's just sort of dig into some numbers, and look at how you can financially transform your business. I think it was Albert Einstein who said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Well, actually, although this is not exactly compound interest, it does have quite a, you know, it's just not just a straight arithmetical effect that it has on your bottom line when we start to look at making changes in each of these areas. So imagine a business that has that's got 1,000 has an input of 1,000 leads a year, yeah, and its conversion rate is 25%. Therefore, the number of sales it makes is 250. Now, with transactions, it might do 10 transactions per customer, and it might charge £100 per transaction. Yeah, giving a revenue of £250,000. Okay, with a gross profit of 25%, which is not unreasonable, then you would be looking at a profit of £62,500. Okay, so that's the baseline that we're talking about for this particular example business. Now, with a 10% increase, you'll go to 1,100 leads. So we do, you know, we look at strategies to get more leads. We look at strategies to get more conversions. Put the leads up to 1,100. Put the conversions up to 27.5%. And that gives you sales of 303. Transactions up to 11 per client, and higher prices. Again, if we put the prices up by 10%, it would give £110, giving a revenue of £366 and 25 pounds, £366,025. And with a 10% increase of gross profits to 27.5%, that gives a bottom line of 100,000. So just by increasing each of those areas by 10%, it's had quite a not strictly speaking an exponential effect on the bottom line, but it certainly increased it by a substantial percentage. And that is absolutely, you know, a 10% increase is not that onerous if you keep a clear focus on what you're trying to do. So if we went to beyond that and started looking at a 50% increase, then you know, we get 1,500 leads, we get 37.5 conversions, giving sales of 563, transactions 15. High price is £150, giving a revenue of over £1 million, with a gross profit of nearly £500,000. So you can see that it's not a straight arithmetical sort of conversation we're having here. What is important, as with all of these things, is keeping a clear focus on what you're trying to do. And the 5-step profit formula gives you that focus. You can look at the various strategies. I mean, for instance, under more leads, you could be looking at joint ventures with other businesses who are in the same marketplace as you, but provide complementary products and services. You're then leveraging their sort of sales team, and they're helping you to qualify business for you in the same way that you qualify business for them. That is a great way of generating more leads, for instance. More conversions. More conversions it's always about looking to add value and finding ways in which to, to convince people to actually, see the value in what you're offering. And that one of the things you may have heard me talk about is bundling. And bundling is a great way of adding sort of products and services into what you normally do, which provide you with more conversions. Similarly with more transactions. And all of these areas, we literally have, 10, 15 strategies we could be using in each of these areas, some of which may not be appropriate depending on the context they're in, some of which will be. And it's a question then of prioritizing those strategies in terms of this 5-step profit formula. So, that final number gives you a 760% uplift in your profits, which is a tremendous number. But it's all about, I can't emphasize enough, having a focus on these 5 key levers. If anybody wants to perhaps look at their business in these terms, then I have a document which I can send to them, which they can sort of work out the numbers for themselves. And perhaps just sort of ask yourself the question of, well, what's my baseline? What would a 10% increase look like, and what would a 50% increase look like? And just ask yourself the question of what you're trying to do. And bear in mind that it's not just about additional money. Money is just a means to an end. But what it's all about is putting you in a position to achieve the goals you want for your business going forward, and that is. And when you've got money to do that, that is absolutely what follows. And I've got a Connect session running with the Family Business Practice on the 14th of July, where I'm going to relate what I've talked about today to your profit and loss statement, and look at the sort of what you should be focusing on within your profit and loss statement to help you to understand how it's impacting on your business on a month-to-month basis, so that you've got a clear measure from your profit and loss statement every month to tell you what's happening in your business. So if you'd like to come along to that, obviously you can book on the Family Business Practice website, and it'd be great to see you there. So that's just a very, very quick overview of the 5-step profit formula. Hopefully you found it useful. I'm sure many of you will have seen variations on a theme, but as I say, that doesn't make it any less important for all that. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Peter. Could you unshare the screen? Thank you. That's brilliant. Round of applause. Good. As ever, Peter, thank you for that. I'll just fire a quick. I don't know if anybody's got any questions right now, but I've got a simple question, which is, of all the clients that you've dealt with or prospects you've talked with over the last, I don't know, year or 2 years, how many have really already had their finger on those 5 questions?
Very few.
You're being polite, aren't you?
It's I mean, it is the case that business owners will have seen a variation on this theme any number of times, but it still always amazes me the extent to which the message really isn't getting through. But of course, that's why that early slide, the first slide I put in about being serious about growth, is important, because there are a lot of people out there running businesses. And they're perfectly happy with the way the business is going. They're perfectly happy with the way it's, what it's going to be doing in the future. That's fine. Don't have a problem with that. They don't need to be listening to this particularly. But particularly with COVID and things like that, the rules have changed. People's marketplaces have changed. It's a good idea to look at their marketplace again in these terms, just to see where they are.
Yeah, it's good advice. Absolutely good advice. Anybody got a question? Fire at me or wave. I can see Dave Bird waving. Dave, go.
Yeah. Any particular order of play, or does it vary widely with the size of the business, how established they are, etc.? Which one of the 5 you'd start with, given a choice?
Context is all important. It's nice to look at a straightforward process: more leads, more conversions, more transactions, etc. But actually, context is all important. It depends where they are as a business. It depends where their strengths and weaknesses lie. What I always try to do is prioritize areas which actually deal with the weaknesses first, because that way, they can continue to build on their strengths, but at the same time they can start to bring their weaknesses up to the necessary level. So yeah, context is all, you know, and that is why I go through a very sort of detailed what I call a profit acceleration process, with a big piece of software that I've got that looks at all various, you know, 40 different areas within the business that they could be working on, and prioritizing those and putting them into some sort of project process.
Any more questions, everybody? If not, I'll move us on. Doesn't look like it. I'm going to, in that case, and round of applause again, please.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Pete. I think in all seriousness, if you've been around a good length of time, you do know those questions, you do know and understand the figures. But I think most of us can be guilty, particularly, I think, Peter, as you alluded to, over the last 15, 18 months, our minds have been all over the place. And business numbers are business numbers. And for people who are into business numbers, you know, it's well, of course it is, that's all it is. But we're all busy doing what we're trying to do at the minute. And then, you know, spending the time on that, maybe spending a bit of time on Peter's next session, on the Connect session. Well, I know you're going to depth a lot more on that, which will be excellent. Get yourself booked on that. We've booked that on pretty late compared with usual for various reasons. So there is some space there. I think you'll find it more than worthwhile. So again, Peter, thank you. This is what we're going to do now. I'm going to break you out into groups. I'm going to break you into groups, 6 groups. Some are 3, some are 4. That's just the way the numbers work. And as usual, I'm going to fire a question at you. What I want is for one person to be a spokesperson when I bring you back, so we can all learn it in 3 ways. 1, by just sharing stuff inside your group. 2, collectively telling everybody what it is you've learned, and then 3rd, we all learn from the other groups too. So, you know, it's a triple whammy. That's how I look at it, at least. So here's the question. Get a pen ready and just scribble this down. What's the number one action? What's the number one action that has made you more profit in the last 15 months? What's the number one action that has made you more profit in the last 15 months? Now, I understand, of course, that some of you have had ups and downs, as we all have. But what I'm saying is, what action have you taken so you've seen a better profit level? If you have. If you haven't, it'd be great to hear from your pals in the groups. I'm going to split you out in a minute, and you're going to have about 20 minutes. So make sure everybody has a go, take it in turns. And if you get to a point where you've covered it all, then by all means, talk a little bit more about what you do and how you do it, but also perhaps other ideas of how to be making more profit, or perhaps more turnover, if you want to look at it that way. Everybody clear? Everybody happy? Kind of nod at me as usual, and I'll see you in 20 minutes. I'll open up all the rooms now. Hopefully the tech will work. See you soon.